Yeah, all right. I think we are good to go. There has to be joining us as we continue. Once again, good morning, everyone. My name is Victor Kalerwa, an employees and benefits consultant here at Liaison Group. And first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. Focus today is on a very important area, the Occupational Safety and Health Act, a very key framework that governs, the workplace safety and health standards. Understanding this act is not only a legal requirement, but also very essential in ensuring that there's the well-being of everyone at the workplace. And just your presence here just shows your commitment to creating, the safer and very healthy work environment. So today we are very much honored to have with us Mr. Julius Karuri, OSHA approved safety officer. Will be walking us through the key elements of the act and how it applies to our organizations and the steps that we can take to ensure compliance. So please feel free to, put in a question. The chat box is very open. You can type in as the presentation goes on, or you can wait maybe once it's done for you to ask the question. Let us, be interactive during this time. And without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Julius. Mr. Julius, please take it up.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. So I am Julius Karuri, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to your people about this very important legislation. So I understand I have only 45 minutes or thereabouts because there's another meeting that is waiting for me at 11. So I'm going to share what I have. Can we see that?
Yes, you can.
Good. So I'm going to be brief and to the point. I have a bit of cold, but I try to sustain. So we will be talking about occupational safety and health legislation. So this is a law that governs and regulates safety and health and welfare at workplaces so that we avoid accidents, incidents, and by doing so, we are going to be saving a lot of money to our respective employers. So introduction, it is an act of parliament. It is a statute. Statute law is law that is written as opposed to common law that is not written. So this law came into effect in 2007, and its main aim was to safeguard the health, safety, and welfare for all persons in employment. Before that, there used to be what we used to call factories and other places of work act. And so it was realized this law majorly concentrated on factories because before factories were considered to be the only workplaces. But in the advent of time and technology and advancement, so now it was anticipated that we must move away from the idea of factories. There's someone who is distracting this meeting. Victor, you can check who it is.
Yeah, I think we are now good to go. Please also put the presentation in the presentation mode. The slides, in the presentation mode.
Oh, this presentation mode. Let me see. From my side, I don't know how to do that.
Oh, maybe you can just proceed then.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it. I can see it on my side.
You can see it on the side now.
I think it's good. It's good to go and just proceed.
Yeah, we can just proceed that way. If all of us can see what I'm presenting, then we are good. The Act received presidential assent on 22nd of October 2007. It became operational just some few days thereafter. Definition of a workplace. Now, if someone tells you, I came to visit your workplace, and maybe you are in the field doing some work, you would ask them, what do you mean? So the law is all encompassing because where I am seated right now, I am at a workplace because I may be doing something that is beneficial to my employee, and that my employee is paying me. So whether I am in a vehicle or any premises, land, vessel thing, all that big definition, it simply says where I am in the course of employment, that is my workplace. If I am under sea, let's say I am a diver, at that given moment, that is my workplace. So that is a brief of it. Enforcement of the Act.
Julius, kindly unmute. You're on mute.
On muting itself.
Currently unmute and then go back to enforcement of the Act.
Enforcement of the Act. I go back. There?
Yes, please.
All right. So the enforcement of the Act is done by a directorate under the Ministry of Labor. This is what we call Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services, which is headed by someone we now call the Secretary. Before then, this person was referred to as the Director. And even the OSHA Act itself refers to this person as a Director. By now, he has been elevated to the level of a Secretary. And below him, he has directors, assistant directors, and the county occupational safety and health officers. This law is operationalized by three entities. The first one is DOSH, that is a Government Enforcement Agency, Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services. The other entity is the employer, who the law refers to as occupier, and the third person is the employee. So, for example, Liaison is an occupier, and Mr. Victor is an employee, And then, of course, OSHA is the regulator. So let's start with the duties of occupiers. I said I'm going to I'll be direct for our clear understanding. Duties of occupiers. Each and every person in this act have got their duties to perform. The first one for the occupier, the major one, is to ensure safety and health and welfare at work for all persons in his workplace. This ensures that the conditions of work are safe, the conditions of work are good, they cannot cause disease. And these people, in terms of welfare provisions, let's say toilets, water, all of those are provided. Another duty of the occupier is to register the workplace. The other one is to formulate relevant policies as per the Act. This Act has got two policies that the occupier must formulate. The first one is Occupational Safety and Health Policy. It's called policy statement. So in this big document, we call the policy. There's a compressed page, a page or two, that we call a policy statement. So this statement, there's a requirement for this statement to be printed and getting prominently displayed at the workplace where everyone can see and can read it and can access it. So that page that has been printed, it needs to be signed by someone in authority, maybe the director, the chairman, the general manager. That is someone at the top management. So this page also needs to have a date. It must be dated. And the third requirement for this page is it must have a stamp or a seal, whichever is applicable. Same case applies to the fire policy. They must also be prominently displayed and having all the features of the safety and health policy statement. The other requirement is establish a safety and health committee at the workplace if there are 20 or more employees. We shall see that at the tail end of this presentation. Many more requirements. The occupier must cause all statutory audits to be carried out once within a period of 12 months. Note, we don't talk of 1 year. To December, that's the current year, the calendar year. So these audits, they are carried out after every period of 12 months. If you have your place audited today, that is 28th of August 2025, next year at the same time, the audit will expire. And therefore, you need to have another audit. So what are these audits? The first one is Occupational Safety and Health Audit, Fire Safety Audit, Risk Assessment, Noise Measurements, and Air Quality Monitoring. So the last two do not apply to all workplaces. So noise measurements are carried out where there are noise sources that might be risky to the workers, that might imperil their hearing. Air quality monitoring is where we have airborne contaminants. Let's say a factory manufacturing cement, or a factory that is manufacturing chemicals or packaging chemicals, or there's a lot of fumes and smokes, or maybe they manufacture animal feeds, or maybe it's a milling factory. In the air, there's a chance of having airborne contaminants in terms of particulates, or otherwise. So these areas must have air quality monitoring. Who carries out the OSHA audit? OSHA audits are carried out by a health and safety advisor who has been approved by DOSH. Fire safety audits are carried out by someone we call fire safety auditor, approved by DOSH. Risk assessment is carried out by a safety advisor. Similarly with noise measurements, but air quality monitoring is a special category of audit that has got its own approval certificate. The other occupier's duties to carry out health surveillance. Health surveillance is to monitor the health and the health of the workers. So there are three major tests or medical examinations that employers must enforce. The first one is audiometric tests. That is for hearing capability or ability. There's lung function tests, that what we call spirometry, and there's a visual acuity test. Forget about number 4. The other bullet should not be there. So these tests are carried out where there's a schedule within the Act that I will share later. Just a moment. What is it? Is it? So these tests are done for certain occupations. So people who are seated in the office, they don't need to do these things. So for an office setup, the only person who is supposed to do things, maybe the food handler in the kitchen, or if there's a groundsman, or if there's a driver, or if there's a machine or plant operator. But for factories where there are airborne contaminants, there is noise and other kinds of hazards, this must be carried out. So then there are general provisions within the Act. There are majorly 4 general provisions within the Act that an occupier must provide. Remember, we are still in the duties of the occupier. So we're going to look at health, safety, welfare conditions, and special provisions. Number 1, health. So under health, the occupier must ensure cleanliness of the workstations. There's all that right up there. I will not read all of it because these slides will be shared to all of you. But basically, there should be no refuse or dirt or accumulating or standing waters or noxious waste within the workplace. Floors should be cleaned at least once in a week. The law just gives us the bare minimum because everyone can do this. It talks about the walls, they should have regular painting, and then it specifies whether it is oil-based or water-based paint. The other provision is sanitary conveniences. At any workplace, there should be adequate sanitary conveniences, which must be kept in a clean state. And they should also be separate between each gender. Male and female at workplaces should not use the same sanitary facility because that is not a home, it's a workplace. At home, you do that because it's a family. Overcrowding. The law only allows 10 cubic meters of space per person. So if you calculate the volume of the room that you are in, and volume means length times width times the height of that room, whatever figure you divide by 10, then that should be the maximum number of persons in that room. Because in some factories, you could say you have, there is no limit to the height because maybe the roof has been blown up. So you can put as many people as you want. So the law looks at 3 meters in height. Ventilation. Adequate and efficient ventilation should be provided in order to ensure circulation of fresh air within the workroom. So all places must have adequate ventilation. And if there is no natural ventilation, then forced mechanical ventilation must be provided, which should be able to exhaust any pollutant gases, fumes, or dust from the working environment. Lighting, there should be maintained adequate and sufficient lighting, suitable lighting, whether natural or artificial. Number 5, drainage of floors. If the processes being undertaken produces spillage of chemicals, water, etc., the floor should be effectively drained. The other provision is safety provisions. It is the duty of the employer to ensure that there are no accidents at the workplace. So how should we avoid accidents? Number 1 is guarding of machinery. So all moving or rotating parts of any equipment must be guarded. So if it's a pulley, gears, assumes in a factory, there are some pulleys, there are some motors with the pulleys, and the pulleys are exposed. That means they can cause an injury. So those pulleys must be fenced off to provide safety. Precautions to be taken with the vessels containing dangerous liquids. There is a lot of literature on that. So there should be adequate notices on any place where you have chemicals, where there is imminent chemical hazard, etc. Training of inexperienced workers. So if a worker has been employed to perform a certain task and they're not well competent in it, they must be trained, they must be supervised. If it is a process that is could cause injury, they must be well and thoroughly trained on that process. And they have to be instructed as to the dangers that may arise from that process, from that machine, from that operation, and they should be adequately supervised. And of course, they must be over the age of 18 years. Examination of plant. A plant is any equipment that just does one thing. It is different from machinery. A machinery can do 2, 3, 4 things, but a plant is that which does only one particular task. If it is a lifting thing, if it is for storing gas, etc. So hoist is a lift for carrying goods, and lifts are for carrying people. So the law requires them to be examined after every period of 6 months. I'm sure some of you where you work, there are lifts. So that is the requirement. Chains, ropes, lifting tackles, these are accessories used by lifting equipments, let's say a crane. So a crane, or let's say a forklift. A forklift has a chain that lowers the mast or raises the mast when it is carrying items. So those chains must be examined after every period of 6 months. Whether it is a steel cable, whether it's a fiber rope that is used for lifting, must be examined after every period of 6 months. Cranes and other lifting equipment. Every crane, there are various kinds of cranes. As long as it is used for lifting, it must be examined after every period of 12 months. There are steam boilers, steam receivers, and all that down there. I will not dwell so much into that. Refrigeration plants, every period of 12 months. Fire precautions. There shall be in every workplace adequate means of extinguishing fire I'm just reading what is on the board. There should be warnings. Every fire exit must be labeled. There has to be a fire assembly point. Audits must be carried out. The fire exit should open outwards or slide sideways, but not open inwards. So people must be trained on how to use fire extinguishers, and a fire team has got to be formed and trained as per what we call the Fire Risk Reduction Rules of 2007, which is a subsidiary legislation inside the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 2007. Number 3, welfare provisions. Supply of drinking water. This water must be wholesome. Wholesome means it must be clean, and free from any form of microbial contamination. Washing facilities, if there are people who need to wash their clothes or maybe the PPE, there has to be sufficient washing facilities. Accommodation of clothing not worn during working hours, they should be provided. If a worker comes to a workplace, then they have to remove their home clothes and put on an overall, a safety shoe. Then the shoes that they had and the clothes that they had must have a place that is lockable for privacy and to prevent cross-contamination. Facilities for sitting. If there is a workplace, people need to stand when they're working. They must be given opportunities for break, and this opportunity for break, they should have a place to sit down. First aid, there should be first aid provisions at the workplace. And sometimes you go to workplaces and find a very small first aid box. Here we talk about occupational first aid box. That must be well stocked, must be well maintained. And there is a requirement for that first aid box that the name of the first aider should be written on the first aid box, and the contact person of the and his or her contact number must be written there. So there's a form we call legal document 250/1. You can write that one down. Legal document, or LD 250/1. This is the leaflet that enables, tells us what must be in that occupational first aid box. Special provisions. This is the fourth category of provisions, which is a requirement from the law to the occupier. Permit to work. If there are dangerous operations that are happening, let's say welding is happening at the workplace, or maybe some people are working at the roof of buildings, maybe demolishing or putting new roof, there has to be a document called permit to work. So this document is a special document that is issued by the management, the person who is managing that work. So this document entails what is going to be done, the risks that are imminent to what is going to be done, the control measures which are going to be taken to reduce that risk, to eliminate the risk, to make people safe, and the time of that operation, maybe from 8 to 5, and the number of names of persons that are going to carry out that work, and all those people must sign that permit to work. And there's a permit acceptor, the person who accepts that permit, who is in charge of that group. So special provisions for people who may be harmed. People below 18, we say they're below the legal age. And therefore it is presumed they don't know how to work safely. And therefore they must not be employed. And if they are employed, they must either be attachees on attachment or either on internship. And even so, they must be well supervised. They should not attend to any machinery, equipment without protection and supervision. Meals in certain dangerous, I will not talk about that. Personal protective equipment. Every employer must provide personal protective equipment that is appropriate. Appropriate means it is an equipment that can directly protect the hazard from getting into contact with the worker. Let's say is a cleaner who does cleaning of the washroom. So if you give them gloves that are fiber, material gloves, it's not going to help them. If they are wearing normal shoes, you give them safety shoes, they're not going to help them. So this person needs gumboots, and they need the long sleeve rubber gloves to make them appropriate so that they don't get contaminated. There's medical surveillance, we talked about this. If someone needs to be employed, let's say in a factory, in the kitchen, a driver is a plant operator, they need to have pre-employment medical examination to ascertain their health at the point of intake. And then periodic. Periodic means after every period of 12 months. And then post-employment, if that person quit work or they have retired, or maybe their contract has ended maybe after 5 years or so, they must have post-employment medical examinations. What are the documents required at the workplace? Certificate of registration under the Act, that is, we call it DOSH 22, is a green certificate from DOSH. Abstract of the Act. Abstract is a compressed format of the law, a summary of the whole Act that shows you the duties of the occupier, the duties of self-employed persons. The General Register is a booklet, is a green booklet that is used to record incidents, if they are first aid cases, if they are medical treatment cases. It also needs us to record the painting of floors, any dangerous occurrences. Maybe you have what you call a compressor, that is you find in most of the workplaces. If it explodes and nobody gets hurt, that's a dangerous occurrence that needs to be put on record. Then we talked about safety and health policy, fire policy, and then the audits, risk assessment reports, health and safety policy, or any other documentation as required by the Act. Then there's reporting of occupational accidents. It is unfortunate that most accidents that happen at workplaces, they go unreported and unnotified to DOSH. For reasons, employers believe you don't take yourself to the police station, let the police find you. But it's a requirement of the Act that all incidents at the workplace that cause harm must be reported. Number one, fatal accidents should be reported within 24 hours. Fatal means someone has gotten an accident and they have passed on, so it has to be reported to DOSH within 24 hours. In case of non-fatal accidents, the reporting period is 7 days. These accidents are if somebody has to stay at home for more than 3 days, even if they don't go to the hospital. If they stay home for more than 3 days, then that has got to be reported to DOSH. Number two, if that person is taken to a hospital for treatment. So it has also to be reported to OSHA. If they receive medication in the hospital or they stay home for more than 3 days. So duties of employed persons, I'm sure here the people I'm talking to, I'm sure all of us are employed, but you read that one later. Let's go to Government Enforcement Agency, is OSHA. OSHA has got officers who are on the ground and they have powers that have been bestowed upon them by the Act. So these people can perform inspections without notice. They don't tell you they are coming. They just appear, and the law allows them to appear either day or night, as long as there is some work happening. They can prosecute occupiers under this Act. They can seize and render harmless by destruction or otherwise any article or substance they may find to be a cause of imminent danger. When they come to the workplace, sometimes they give you what you call improvement notice. They write down what you have not done, and then they give you 21 days to act. If you do not act within 21 days, they come back and then they write a prohibition notice. Prohibition notice means you stop what you're doing, you close the workplace, lock the doors, go home, let the people go home until you fix that which they need you to fix. Else, they have the powers to take an occupier to the court of law. Examine and cause any work to sign a declaration in respect to any matter relating to this Act, all that. Some posts take for analysis. I talked about prohibition and improvement notices. Those are subsidiary legislation under this Act. There are so many. I will not dwell into that. Offenses and penalties. So as it were, for every law, there are penalties for not complying. So there's a general penalty of up to 300,000 or imprisonment or both. In case of death, as a result of the occupier contravening the Act, there's a fine of 1 million or up to 12 months in jail or both, depending on the circumstances of what happened. If there's forgery, false declarations, there's a fine of 200,000 or imprisonment or both, 6 months in prison or both. For example, a worker gets injured and then the officer or the manager writes false information on the circumstances of the accident. So if it is discovered, there's a penalty of 200,000 to that manager or imprisonment of 6 months. So the law requires the workplaces to have 3 statutory teams. The first team is Safety and Health Committee in Section 9 of the Act. The other one is First Aid Team, and the third one is Fire Team or the Fire Marshal Team. So let's look at each team. Formation of firefighting teams or Fire Marshal Team. Section 21, every occupier shall establish a firefighting team that shall consist of, shall means a must in law. A, at least 2 persons where the number of workers is not more than 10. If you're less than 10, then you should have 2 persons trained on fire marshal course. If the workers are between 11 and 25, we should have 3 persons. If the workers are more than 25, then we should have at least 5 persons. Formation of first aid team. This one has got 5 categories. If you're fewer than 10, then we need 1 person trained in first aid. If between 10 and 20, we need 2 persons. 21 and 50, at least 3 people. 51 and not more than 100, you need 5 persons. For every workplace where there are more than 100 workers, at least 5 persons, and 2 additional persons for each extra 100. So if you have 600 persons, that means we should have 6 people. Formation of safety committees. This is subsidiary legislation. The factories and other places of work act, safety and health committees, legal number 31 of 2004. So for workplaces employing between 20 and 100 persons, there should not be less than 3 safety representatives from the management and the work. That means if you're between 20 and 100, there should be 6 people. 3 from the general workforce and 3 from the management. Between 100 and 1,000, there should be 10 people constituting the Safety and Health Committee. So 5 persons from management and 5 persons from the general workforce. If the number is above 1,000, then we should have 14 persons in the Safety and Health Committee, 7 from the workforce and 7 from the management. Now, there is a quorum for every committee sitting. At least there should be 2/3 of those people for a meeting to proceed. So those are the provisions of the law. And if your workplace is between 0 and 19, there is no express requirement of the law to have the Safety and Health Committee. But as good practice, what you call industry good practice, best practice in the industry, at least you could consider forming a team. So I'm going to present something else shortly. Let me remove this. Let me see if I can trace it. In case there is any question you could be asking.
Just a question, yeah?
Yes.
Could we get these notes after the presentation, please?
Definitely, you get all these notes.
Oh,
you have all of them.
Thank you.
So there's something I'm trying to look for, but I can explain even without getting it. So there's something I'm going to talk about that is not in this slide. I'm going to include it in the slides. I think I have prepared another slide. I don't know where it is.
Julius,
Now,
maybe just before you proceed.
Yes.
Elma has her hand lifted up.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Elma.
Go on.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for this session. I had just one question.
Yes.
So for a company that has a headquarter and a few branches, which is like
Yes.
a small shop, just a small shop, do we
Yes.
still need to conduct audits for that small shop?
That's a good question. Can
Yes.
anyone attempt? So now if you look at the green certificate, that is DOSH 22. If you go back to your place, I'm sure you have the certificate of registration of workplace from DOSH. There's a place, it indicates the plot number. So as long as that workplace is included in your main certificate as a plot number, then you don't have to. But again, every certificate is for one workplace. It cannot be shared. So if you have an office in Nairobi, you have another office in Machakos, that office is a different workplace with a different location, the different plot number. So the one in the head office cannot stand in for Machakos. Each and every plot office or workplace must have its own. But assuming you are in a yard where you have two plots, maybe it's a factory, it has two separate plot numbers, and is performing the same operations here and in the next plot, then they can share a certificate. But if whatever is happening in the next plot is a different business altogether, then there has to be two certificates. How much? Have I answered you?
Okay, so it depends with the plot number. Let's say it our head office is in Mombasa Road, and
Yes.
the shop is in Thika Road, and
Yes,
maybe other shops are spread around Nairobi in different plots.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they are small, just small shops, and with only like 2 workers or 1.
Yes.
Still need to audit, do a different audit for them.
No, the audit for small offices. Sometimes we get a waiver from DOSH. We go there, we explain to them this is an office with only 2 people, and mostly maybe they're just doing office work. There are no operations, machinery or anything. They come and sit down and maybe secretarial job or whatever it is. Sometimes they can give a waiver, but that has got to come from the secretary. But they must have their own certificate of workplace. Because if an accident happens, the first thing they do when they do investigations, maybe because if you have to compensate someone, you have to go through DOSH. Then they will ask you for certificate of registration plus other requirements. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Welcome. Any other question? So now, at the moment, there's what we call OSHMIS, OSHMIS, OSHMIS system. So from last year, July, DOSH introduced an online platform called Occupational Safety and Health Management Information System. And this one now, it has replaced the manual way of doing things. Previously, if you were to apply for this license or this certificate, workplace registration certificate, we had to fill a lot of forms. We go to the bank and pay. You stamp and sign these forms. Then we take them to the regional DOSH office or even to Safety House in Nairobi. Then at times you wait even for 1 month without receiving your certificate. Sometimes your documents get misplaced. It was all chaotic. And even for audits, we would produce hard copies of audits. We sign, we take the occupier to sign and stamp, and then we take them to DOSH, Nairobi. Now all that is gone. So now what is happening? This OSHA system that occupiers must create an account in. So there's a link, or you just type DOSH MIS. You add a D on OSHA MIS, you type DOSH MIS. Then it will tell you login, and then it will prompt you on how to proceed. So for an occupier to be in this system, they need a CR12. CR12 is the certificate from KRA, is it from Sharia House, I guess, that shows the directors of the company or the directors of the entity. So with this CR12, is the one that you use to onboard the company onto DOSH MIS. You need an email, then you need a telephone number, and then it will prompt you to fill company information, a lot of details. And then once you finish with that, it will prompt you to pay for the certificate of workplace registration. And then you pay via eCitizen. It's going to prompt the number that you want in the system. Then once you pay, the certificate is instantaneous. It just comes out at that moment. Then you print it. So for that one, if there are any challenges, we are always there to help and ensure that there is compliance. So I think my minutes are over. I try to be as brief as I can and covering as much as I can, because the Act is so big and is a whole volume that each of us can download and look at it. If you write OSHA 2007 in Google, it will just come there, and then you download the PDF document. Then you can be able to read it. Otherwise, if there be no more questions, I take the meeting back to Victor.
Thank you so much, Julius. I think we have a few questions before we log off.
Okay, Sylvan, I see.
Sylvan.
Thank you so much, organizer and the presenter. That was a good, I think I can say excellent presentation on terms of health and safety.
Thank you.
Now, my question goes to concerning the portal.
Portal.
Yeah, you will find sometimes we find challenges in government institution. It is easier to enroll to the portal.
Yes.
However, in particularly where I saw a challenge is primary school, faith-based primary school,
yes.
where those where we were. I was trying to check the code, that unique code that we were sent to use it, and it wasn't working, and we really tried our best to go back to contact the. There was an email and a contact that we were given to contact, so that for the assistance, and it really never went. It never went through to the point whereby the individual of those institutions decided to just leave it. I don't know if you can be able to assist maybe later.
Yes, those are things that we have faced. Unfortunately, you find these government officers sometimes they're laid back in what they're supposed to do. So it happens, yes. Did you get the unique code or you didn't get?
We were told to use the way you have said that one, from the registrar, those documents where it shows the directors. Yeah. And it
Now,
really,
let's say it's learning institutions.
Yes.
Suppose it's a learning institution. There is a certificate from the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
That is the one that you provide.
Mm-hmm.
You send an email to that email address that you're given.
Yes.
Then you attach that certificate, and then they're going to generate you a unique code that is acceptable in OSHA that will allow you to continue. And where it asks you to put the CR12, you put that certificate. You just upload it there. So if there are any challenges, yes, that's why we are here. We can assist. I can assist.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Sylvain. Do we have any other question? The floor is open to everybody. All right, looks like we all. So once again, thank you so much, Julius, and thank you so much, team, for joining in today. Hopefully, it's been helpful. And maybe as Julius mentioned, in the event of any question going forward, please get in touch with us. Feel free to get in touch with us. We'll definitely get to let you know the way forward. Thank you so much for joining in, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Victor. I will share with you people all this information plus whatever else I will add.